Hey, this is Mike, and just giving an update. It's now like 5:20 in the morning before market open on Wednesday, and yesterday the market was up slightly, 0.2%, and it's up another 0.2 this morning. Yesterday, gold did outperform the S&P as usual. Was up almost 1%, though it's down 0.5% in the pre-market. However, the one thing we want to look at is that the S&P 500 has hit a new high and has pretty much recovered from its COVID crash in March. However, will it continue to rise? Now, there's some interesting things we need to look at. The first thing is, for the past 5 days, the market has been trading in a very narrow range, and that has caused the VIX to go down to its lowest levels in a while. It's down at about 21. So one trade you may want to look at if you're looking for like probably one of the easiest trades is just to go long the VIX. Look at the VIX ETF stock, VIXY, the ETF. This looks like a pretty easy trade because what's going to happen is either the S&P 500 is going to either explode higher because it's made a new high, and usually stocks that hit a new high, a new all-time high, new 52-week high, they usually really move up higher, or they just collapse downward. So we're going to see some big movements one way or the other. Now, the one thing you really don't want to do is you don't want to buy a strangle because usually when you buy a strangle, the premiums are kind of high. So one of the easier things to do really at this point is just to buy the VIX ETF and hold it for about a week because we're going into September, and that's another thing to consider. September is historically the worst month for equities. So you could have a point where you could have a rare September rally in the stock market, or it'll just reverse and it'll go back down because usually, people say we're not in a bear market. I still personally think we are in a bear equity market. In fact, I think we're going to be in a bear decade for equities and be in a bull market for commodities, especially gold and silver in the next decade. So I kind of expect sometime in the near future, probably before the election, that we're going to retrace at least 1/3 to 1/2 of the crash that we had in March. So we had from peak to trough here 222 to 338. So you split the difference, so looking at 100 points, you could see a 100-point fall back to maybe 228, 228, probably, so let's call it probably about 260 to 275. We could see a fall back into that range, or we could explode higher. So either way, I would say right now the play is just to play the VIX because I do think volatility is going to go higher, especially going into September. And obviously, if you're looking at something as just a long-term trade, gold is it's still running. It's still off of its high, but I think over the long term, when you see all the debt that's been accumulated by all the governments around the world, gold and silver are the no-brainers. Gold is a little better of a commodity trade than silver because silver has an industrial component, and so it's a little more unpredictable. You can get some outsized gains, but still, that could be a little trouble. And of course, you look at the gold miners with Buffett buying into Barrick Gold. You see that pop there, and that's close to a new high. So yeah, we'll look at gold and the gold miners going into the future. So this could be a very interesting week, though, looking at what may be in store with the S&P 500. So we'll take a look at it, and if you want to see my latest videos are open, I come out with them every day before market open, 5 days a week. Just go ahead and subscribe and turn on the notification button. Okay, thanks. Bye.